How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to an episode here on Let's Build Twitter. As always, I'm Ethan, or Unknown Coder, your favorite underqualified senior software engineer. And as always, if you guys do want access to a private repository for this project, there is a link in the description down below that'll walk you through exactly how to gain access to that. Now, that being said, let's go and hop into what we're working on today. Today, we're going to go ahead and finally tackle our images, or at least start. It's going to take several episodes because this thing is a beast. It's literally built from scratch. I've been working on this image editor for on and off for like 2 years now. I started it way back whenever we started the series, kind of put it to the side because I didn't know how I was going to actually save the images and there's problems, and I've been working on it again for like the past 2 weeks and finally got it finished. This is probably going to be the most complicated, difficult part of this entire series, so buckle up. Fingers crossed I don't screw anything up, because if I typo something, it's going to be hours of debugging and not very much fun. We're going to have to stop recording. I'm going to figure it out and report back to y'all. But just so you guys can understand what we're building, so if you actually on Twitter click on like this button, I'll show you what it looks like. So it brings you to something like this where we can like zoom in and zoom out. We can move it around a little bit, and when we click apply, it's going to go ahead and save that as our profile picture. So that's what we're going to start working on today. Today, my goal is just to be able to click on this guy, have it pop up, and then load in the image into a Redux slice to be able to be edited. A couple other things to note: I tweaked my audio settings slightly again, because whenever I was editing the past few episodes, I noticed that it seemed like I was starting to peak, even though I shouldn't be. So let's go ahead and turn the gain down on my mic, so hopefully it sounds a little bit better. If it's a little bit quiet, we can play around with things as well. So that being said, let's go and hop into the code and get to work here. So like I mentioned, we're going to be storing the image inside of a slice specifically for editing the images. So we're going to go into source Redux slices. We're going to go ahead and create an editMedia slice.ts and go ahead and hop in here. So first thing we need to go ahead and do is we'll go ahead and import a couple things. So we're going to go ahead and need our create async thunk, which I don't know if we need right away, but I'll bring it in anyway. We'll obviously need our create slice. We need our payload action, and then this is going to be from our at, and then this is going to be redux.js/toolkit. All right, we're going to go ahead and set up a couple interfaces. So we're going to set up an interface image coordinates, and this is going to go ahead and be starting x, which is a number. We're going to have a starting maybe y, which is a number. And we're going to have a final, maybe final width, which is a number. We're going to have a final height, maybe, if I could type, which is a number. Cool. And then from here, we're going to have our interface for our state. So edit media slice state. Inside of this, we're going to have our image. So we're going to be editing, which is a string. We'll have a target. So this is going to get expanded upon as we get going. But the first target is going to be edit underscore, and then this is going to be profile underscore picture. So for editing our profile picture, or it's going to go ahead and be edit underscore, and this is going to be banner underscore picture, or it can just be empty because this is how we're going to start out. Next, we're going to have editing state. This is going to be useful later on as well. So we're going to be inactive, which basically means we're not editing anything. We're going to be in the editing state. So that means we're actively looking at an image and editing it. We're going to need done. And this is going to be basically for whenever to keep track of when we should save the image. We're going to have a preview, preview height. This is going to be a number. We're going to have a preview width. This is also going to be a number. And then we'll have a target height, which is a number. And then we'll have a target width, which is a number. And then we'll have a zoom level, which is a number. And then finally, we'll have our coordinates of the image. This will be our image coordinates. So basically, the preview height is going to be how big we're displaying it inside of our little box. The target height is how big we actually want it to be at the end. And then obviously zoom level is how zoomed in we have gotten whenever we have zoomed in on the image. And then the coordinates are going to be how we're going to figure out what to render whenever we're done editing the image. So now let's go ahead and set up our initial state, const initial state. And this is going to be an edit media slice state is equal to, and here our image will be empty. We'll go ahead and have our target as empty because we're going to set our target whenever we start editing. And then we'll have our editing state as inactive. So inactive because we're not editing currently. We're going to go ahead and have our preview height set to 0. We'll have our preview width set to 0. We're going to have a target height of 0, and then a target width of 0. And then finally, our zoom level will start at 0, and then our coordinates will all start at 0. So our starting X will be 0, our starting Y will be 0, our final width will be 0. I might have done that in a different order. Oh well. And our final height will be 0. So that's going to be our initial state. Now let's go ahead and set up our slice. And I don't even think we need async dunk. I think I was playing around with stuff and forgot to delete that. So that's fine. So I'm going to go ahead and say export const, and edit media slice will be equal to our create slice. And then in here, let's go and set this up. So our name is going to be edit media, like that. We're going to have our initial state, and then we'll have our reducers. So we're going to actually have some reducers in here. So first we're going to have a configure and modal, and then in here we're going to have a state, which is an action, or state comma action, my bad, and it's going to be a payload action, payload action, and then inside of our payload action we're going to go ahead and pass in edit media slice state. So we're going to go ahead and basically set up the slice each time we go to open up the modal, because it's going to be editing different images maybe each time. So here we're going to go ahead and return action.payload, and then we're going to go ahead and set up an update zoom level. So this one's also pretty self-explanatory. This is going to be state action and payload action of a number. So this is just going to go ahead and count up how far we zoomed in, or count down if we're zooming out. So we're going to return an object with ... state, and then we're going to have our zoom level, maybe zoom level will go ahead and be equal to action.payload. So as we zoom in, we'll go ahead and update the state, zoom out, update the state, so on and so forth. Have an update image coordinates. So this is going to end up being one of the most important ones, because this is how we actually determine how we render the image. We'll have our action, and it's going to be a payload action, and this is going to be image coordinates. And then once again, we're just going to go ahead and return, and this is going to be simple, ... state, and we're going to go ahead and have our coordinates is equal to action, action.payload. And then we're almost done here. Now we're going to update the image. So this will be state action and payload action, colon payload action. I don't know if we ever actually use this, but I'll go ahead and set it up anyway. Some of this stuff I set up at one point and then deleted it and forgot to take it out of places like this. So we'll see if we end up using this, but this is also just going to go ahead and return ... state, and then our image will go ahead and be action.payload. I guess we do end up using this, and editing state is done. This is how we go ahead and set up to be able to basically save the image. And finally, we'll have a reset state, and inside of our reset state, we're just going to go ahead and return our initial state. Some of these we aren't going to use for a little while, but we're just going to go ahead and set everything up now just to be good to go. And then now let's go and export const, and let's go and return all of our things. So we're going to have our configure modal. I cannot talk. Oh my goodness. Reset state. We'll have our update zoom level and our update image coordinates. I added an extra O, coordinates, and then finally update image is going to be equal to edit media slice dot actions, and then we'll also go ahead and export default, and this is going to be edit media slice dot and then our reducer. So now what we need to go ahead and do is we need to go into our store, and we need to go ahead and set up our store. So let's hop into our Redux store. Inside of Redux store, we just need to go ahead and import our edit media reducer. So import edit media reducer from /slices/ edit media slice. Whoops, I cannot type. There we go. And then let's go ahead and bring it in here under our profile. We'll have edit media will be edit media reducer, like so. And then we don't need to add anything in here. I had it set up so you did at one point, but I changed it because it was being annoying. For this, it probably would have been a lot better to use a context because you can pass functions and stuff to context. Redux does not like you passing a function. I was originally passing a function to know how to save the image, but then it got really messy. So that's how I went to which state or target we're using, and also like what state we're in, editing, not editing, so on and so forth. So now we need to go ahead and actually update the profile slice as well to be able to include our profile picture inside the edit profile. So let's hop into our profile slice. Inside of our profile slice, we're basically going to come down here, and underneath our website URL, we're going to go ahead and have a profile picture. Oops, and this is going to be string or null. I probably should have just done string here, but it is what it is. We're going to have our banner picture, the string or null. And then now we need to go into our initial state, obviously, because it's going to be mad at us. So let's go ahead and add that in. And we're also going to go ahead and go into, so I think I missed a line here. Let me double check GitHub to see where this actually goes. Okay, so now inside of our save updated profile payload, let's see here. So I need to double check. Here we go. So now whenever we do this, we need to add a couple things in here. So we're going to have the old profile picture, and this is going to be a string. We're going to go ahead and have updated profile picture, which is going to be string or null. We're going to have old banner picture, which is a string. We're going to have updated banner picture, which is a string or null. That's why it was confusing me, because like we didn't update the state, so why is this here? But it's fine. And then in here, we'll go ahead and have our profile picture be null, and we'll have our banner picture start out as null as well. Cool. So let me go and hop back over to my actual planned code here. Now we need to go ahead and come down to our initial state, which we just did. And then now let's come down even farther to a couple things. We need to go and set the profile picture and banner picture. So the first ones are on line 222. Again, this might be slightly off, so bear with me here. Okay, so whenever we save our changes, that makes sense. We're going to go ahead and say profile picture. Whoops. Picture, there we go, and it's going to be payload dot old profile picture. It's not equal to our payload dot and then updated profile picture, because we don't want to change it if we didn't change anything, question marks. So here we payload dot updated profile picture or null. Okay, and we need to do the same thing for our banner picture. So banner picture, it's going to be payload dot old banner picture not equal to, and then payload dot updated banner picture. So updated banner picture question mark payload, if I could type that'd be cool, dot updated, I can't type, I'm sorry guys, or null. So basically we're going to check to make sure we actually change these before we try to update them on the front end, because if we didn't update them, they're going to be maybe an empty string or something, and that'll reset everything. We don't want to reset our profile picture or banner picture if we didn't change them. We're going to scroll down and do something similar again on line 309. So let's scroll down here. So let's see. So whenever we load user's profile fulfilled inside of the edit profile, we're going to go ahead and do one of these. So we're going to go ahead and say profile picture is going to be action.payload, maybe. If I could type, and then we're going to go ahead and see if we have a profile picture. So profile picture question mark. If we do action.payload profile picture, and then image URL. Otherwise, we'll do null. We're going to do the same thing for our banner picture. So banner picture action.payload banner picture question mark. So if we have a banner picture, we do action.payload and then banner picture image URL. Otherwise, we'll set it to null. And there's a couple more places. So let's scroll down a little bit farther to 353-ish. Okay, so whenever we save user profile changes, we're going to go ahead and say that our profile picture, and I might need to double check this, is action.payload.profile picture, because our action might be what's coming back from the back end. We might want this to be profile picture .url, and this might cause an issue. I'm not sure. I'm gonna double check that later, I guess, but we'll see. And then our banner picture will be action.payload.banner picture, because I think this is going to be coming back as an object and break things possibly, but we'll see. Maybe we override it. Then finally, we want to come down to about that's 361. That was 361, give or take. So I think that we missed one. Let's see, 353 here. Okay, so here, profile picture. Okay, so that's why I did it wrong. This should be action.payload. Sorry guys, I'm throwing this all around. This one should be just .profile. Whoops, profile picture. If I could type, that'd be cool. And this one should be banner picture, action.payload.banner picture, because this is a user. Here I was right. So this one, it should be action.payload.profile picture, question mark, and then action.payload.profile picture, .image URL. And then otherwise it'll just be null. We need to do the same thing, question mark, action.payload.banner picture, .image URL, otherwise null. And I think that does it for our profile slice. Now, hopefully I got everything working and everything. This should be good to go. We'll find out pretty early on, I think, whenever trying to edit the profile picture and stuff, that it's not working. So we should catch it pretty early next episode, because this episode, our goal is just to get the image loaded into Redux so we can use it. So we might not get to see if this is fully broken, but fingers crossed we can catch it pretty early. So now what we need to go ahead and do is actually hop into our edit profile modal content and set it up so we can load in the picture. So let's hop in there. Inside of our edit profile modal, we're going to go ahead and set up a couple things. So we need to set up some state. So we're going to go ahead and say const, and we're going to have image and target is going to be equal to use selector. We're going to have our state and root state, and this is going to be state.editMedia. And then we need to go ahead and set up a way to actually get our images, and this part's going to be fun. So underneath our const change profile user values, we're going to say const handle get image is equal to e react dot, and this is not a mouse event, this is a change event, and this will be an HTML input elements. Go ahead and make our error function. So we're going to go ahead and check if e dot, and we're going to go ahead and say target dot files, and we have an e dot target dot files of 0. So we want to make sure we actually have an image loaded. So if that's the case, we're going to say file reader is equal to a new file reader, and we're going to go ahead and read this in as a base 64, and that is how we're going to be able to kind of update and change things here. So we're going to say file reader dot on load end. It's kind of gross, but what can you do? We're going to set up a callback function whenever it finishes reading the file. We're going to say const data URL is equal to file reader dot results dot to string. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get the base 64 URL, and then we're going to go ahead and dispatch, once we have this, a configure modal from our Redux slice that we just set up, and then let's go ahead and set this up. So inside here, we're going to need the image, which is going to be the data URL. We're going to go ahead and need the target. So here, we're going to go ahead and say e.target.id, if I could type, is equal to, and then we're going to check to see if it's profile dash picture. If that's the case, it's going to be edit underscore profile underscore and then picture. Otherwise, it'll be edits maybe underscore banner underscore picture. And then after target, we need editing state. We'll go ahead and set the editing state as editing. We'll go ahead and have the preview, and we're going to start out with height here. So the preview height, we're going to say e.target.id once again is equal to profile dash picture. They're slightly different depending on what you do. Question mark. And let me make sure I put this as a question mark so it's not broken. Okay, so if it is a profile picture, we're going to say 468. Otherwise, we're going to say 156. And really, this could have been a little bit bigger than 156, but it is what it is. Our preview and then width. is going to be 468 no matter what. So the profile picture will be a square. The banner picture will be a rectangle of our target. And we'll say height. So here, once again, we'll say e.target.id is equal to, and then profile-picture, maybe. And then here, we'll say question mark 120 or 200. Here, you guys can play around with how big you actually want this to be. 120 seems to be a little bit small sometimes for profile pictures, so you can play around with it. This is just what I did. Target width, once again, e.target.id equal to profile-picture, and then question mark. So here we'll say 120, it'll be a square, or 600 for the banner for a rectangle. Go ahead and set the zoom level to 0, obviously, and then we'll have our coordinates here. We could have like passed not everything, but it is what it is. Starting X will obviously be 0. We'll have our starting Y, which is obviously 0. We'll go ahead and have our final width of 0 and our final height of 0. I definitely could have made a custom payload to like just pass some of this stuff, but it is what it is. And let me double check here. Why is this mad? Oh, because I need to do an if statement here. So if our file reader dot, and then this is going to be result. We need to check to make sure there's a result before we actually do this. So let's go ahead and copy this here, and you gotta love TypeScript. There we go. And now it's not mad. Cool. So now at the bottom of this, outside of our onloaded, but inside of this guy. So we're going to go ahead and say file reader dot read as data URL. We're going to go ahead and pass an e dot target and then dot files of 0. So basically what's going to happen is as soon as we call handle get images, it's going to go ahead and create this file reader and read in the data. Once that file reader has read our data, we'll go ahead and take the result and get the string version of it, which is base 64. And then we'll go ahead and pass in that base 64 into our configure modal, and then figure out how tall, how high, how wide, what the target is, all that stuff once we get in there. We're also going to go ahead and set up another quick function, const remove banner image, because you can remove your banner, e react.mouse event, and this is going to be on an HTML and div element. Okay, and then this one's going to be simple. We're just going to say e.stop propagation, and then in here we'll just go ahead and say dispatch, and we're going to go ahead and dispatch update edit profile, and we're just going to go ahead and pass in that our property is going to be banner picture. So banner picture, and then our value will be an empty string. It could have probably also been null, but basically we're just going to get rid of that guy and we're not going to show it anymore. So now we're going to go ahead and set up a use effect to deal with some wonky behavior with the banner. So use effect, okay, and this is just going to run once whenever the component mounts. Basically what we need to go ahead and do is check to see if we changed the banner picture or not, or removed it or anything. And this is because you can remove the banner picture, but you can't delete the profile picture. So that's why specifically we're only checking banner. So here we're going to go ahead and say edit profile dot banner picture is equal to an empty string, or our edit profile dot banner picture is equal to null. So if we removed it, and our profile file user question mark dot banner picture. So basically we're going to go ahead and replace this. So we're going to go ahead and dispatch and our update and edit profile, and we're going to go ahead and pass in our property, maybe property, like a type is once again going to be banner picture, and then we're going to go ahead and have the value, gosh dang it, value is going to be profile user dot banner picture dot image URL. So basically if we removed the banner picture, closed out the modal, came back into the modal, the edit profile picture or edit profile might not have the banner in there. So we need to go ahead and re-update it to make sure it's still showing. But with profile picture, we don't have the issue because we can't just remove the profile picture from the user. We're almost done here. Now we need to go ahead and make a couple changes to things like this guy, the background, and some stuff like that. So now we can actually simplify our background quite a bit. So we don't need to go ahead and do any of this question mark stuff. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of that. We're going to go ahead and get rid of the colon. And now what it's going to be is going to be, instead of profile user dot banner picture dot image URL, we're going to go ahead and have edit profile dot banner picture. And this could be null. So we're going to go ahead and say or an empty string, which is more or less doing the exact same thing we were doing before. Cool. We're going to go ahead and make some changes to this edit profile modal here. So we're going to go ahead and add in an input. So inputs, and this is going to be on change will equal to, whoops, and I broke everything. Let me go ahead and try this again. So inputs on change will be equal to, and this will be handle get image. We're going to have a type equal to file because we need to go and get a profile picture or a picture. We're going to have ID will be banner dash picture, and then we'll have accept will be any type of image. So it's going to be image slash star. And finally, this guy's going to be hidden. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and wrap this guy. So we're going to have a label like a type, and class name is going to be equal to edit dash profile dash modal dash edit dash, and then I have PFP label here. It could just be image label or whatever, but I'll just go ahead and put it as PFP label so I don't break anything. We're gonna have HTML4 equal to, and this one's gonna be banner dash picture. So whenever we click on this label, it'll go ahead and open up our whatever it's called, the inputs. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and paste that guy in there and save that, and then that should be good. And then now on our close here, we need to go ahead and add on click to this guy, and it's gonna go ahead and be remove and banner image. So whenever we click on the close slash X, it'll go ahead and get rid of that. And then now we need to do something very similar for our profile picture. So once again, this one we still kind of need to keep this URL because we're going to be using the default profile picture, except for here, instead of checking the profile user, we're going to be checking the edit profile. So we're going to go ahead and say, instead of profile user, edit profile dot profile picture question mark, and then here we can go ahead and clean this up. So this will be profile, this should be edit profile dot profile picture, like so. Otherwise, it'll be URL again, and that's just because we want to have the default PFP. If I was smart, I would have like upload the default PFP to our backend and did it automatically every time, but it is what it is. Finally, we'll go ahead and have once again, an input in here with an on change on it equal to, and this will be handle get image. We'll go ahead and have a type equal to file. Once again, ID this time will be profile dash picture, and I did everything based off the profile picture first. That's why we're checking for like profile picture stuff and not banner, just because it was easier to do the square stuff first. Except will be image slash star. We'll go ahead and have this hidden, and then we'll go ahead and once again wrap this guy inside of our label. So label the class name equal to, and this is going to be edit dash profile dash modal dash edit dash PFP dash label, and then HTML4 will equal to profile dash picture. Then let's go ahead and grab this guy and throw it in there, and then we're basically almost done here. Let's go ahead and paste him in there, save that. We can also go ahead and format to make it look a little bit prettier. Now we have this new label that we need to go ahead and style. So let's go ahead and style that. Let's hop into the CSS. Inside the CSS, I'll just go ahead and throw it, I don't know, here, I guess. And we're gonna go ahead and say .edit dash profile, and then modal dash edit dash PFP label. Hopefully I typed everything right. So height will just be fit dash content. Our width will just be fit dash content. And then we'll have a display of flex. If I could type, that'd be cool. And then we'll justify content in the center. and we'll align items in the center, and we'll also go ahead and have a hover. Edit profile modal, edit PFP dash label, :hover, and this will be cursor pointer. Spelled cursor wrong. There we go. All right, so that should basically be everything. Now, the only goal of this episode, once again, was just to be able to click on the input and just load in an image. So let's go and hop into the front end, give it a refresh, and see if we can do that. Okay, it looks like we have an issue. So argument type user ID is not assignable to parameter save, update profile payload. Oh, we need to update the top bar really quick. Forgot about this. So here, once again, we'll just throw in basically nothing because we don't have anything to change. So our profile, our old profile picture will just be our profile user, and we don't have profile user. So let's go ahead and update this. I don't know how I missed this. Profile user, and then we'll go ahead and say, let's see here, profile user dot profile picture question mark, and profile user dot profile picture dot image URL. Otherwise it'll be null. We might have to set that as an empty string. We'll see. Updated profile picture will just be edit profile dot profile picture, and then we'll have our old banner picture, which is the same thing. So profile user dot banner picture question mark, and then this would be profile user dot banner picture dot image URL. This is probably just oversight on my end for not including this in the episode. Oh well. And then updated banner picture will be edit profile dot banner picture. See if it's mad at us about anything about being null or anything. I don't think it should be. Let's go ahead and give the front end a refresh again. And now it's mad at us once again. So yep, let's just do an empty string. I thought that I had seen something like that pop up. I don't know why it gets mad about this. I thought I had it as a string or null, but maybe the specific payload I screwed up. Let's try once again. Okay, we finally loaded. The only way we're going to be able to really see anything going on is if we go ahead and open up Redux. So I'm going to go into up here, go into our Redux dev tools, open in a window. Okay, I'll pull it back over in a sec. Let's go to edit profile, click on this guy. I'm going to blur for a sec. Go ahead and open up a PNG. Okay, if we come in here, go under configure modal, we should have our data, editing profile picture, editing, so on and so forth. So that's going to go ahead and do it for this episode. If you guys did enjoy, please like, comment, and subscribe. Everything helps out here with the YouTube algorithm. Of course, if you guys do want to see where we start from absolute scratch to get the point right now, there's a playlist in the end card right over here. So that being said, I hope you guys have a great day. This has been Ethan, or Uncoder, and I'll see you all in the next video.